All right, today we're going to do something kind of cool. We're going to build a national economy, right, from the ground up, piece by piece. And by the time we're done, you're going to finally understand what that big number you're always hearing about, GDP, is really all about.
Yeah, you hear it all the time, right? On the news, online, GDP is up, GDP is down. But what is it? What is this giant machine that's turning away behind the scenes to produce this one single number that seems to define how a country is doing? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to crack today.
So first things first, let's get a quick distinction out of the way. You've got two main branches of economics. Microeconomics is all about the individual trees, your personal budget or how one single company decides to price its stuff. But we're not doing that today. Nope. We're stepping into the world of macroeconomics. We are zooming all the way out to look at the entire forest.
A good way to think about it is this. Just like a person has a pulse that tells you about their health, a country has an economic pulse. And macroeconomics, well, that's the stethoscope. It gives us the tools we need to measure that pulse and see if the economy is healthy, struggling, or absolutely booming.
Okay, so let's start building this thing from the ground up. We'll start super simple. Just imagine, for a second, an economy with only two players in the whole game.
So on one side, you've got households. That's us, you, me, everybody. We have things businesses need, like our labor. And on the other side, you have firms, all of the businesses out there making stuff. They make the things that we, the households, want to buy. And that simple back and forth, that's the core engine of the entire economy.
And this diagram right here, it shows that engine in action. Take a look at that outer loop. We, the households, spend our money to buy goods and services from firms. Then look at the inner loop. That very same money flows right back from those firms to us in the form of income, wages for the work we do. It's this beautiful, continuous, circular flow of money.
Okay, so in this super simple world we've built, all the economic activity, what we're eventually going to call GDP, is really just two things. First, you've got C for consumption. That's you and me buying stuff, like a cup of coffee. Then you've got I for investment. That's the coffee shop buying a brand new, fancy espresso machine so they can make even more coffee. And that's it. That's our basic starter economy. Simple, right?
But real life is never that simple, is it? There's another huge player we need to bring into the game to make this model look a bit more like reality.
So our little engine is humming along, but wait a minute. Where are the roads, the schools, national defense? All that stuff is missing. So yeah, where does the government fit into all this? How do we plug it into our model?
Well, here's how it plugs in. The government basically steps into the middle of this flow. It pulls money out from both of us, households and firms, through taxes. But then it turns right around and injects that money back in through its own spending on public goods and services.
This means we have a brand new letter to add to our equation. G for government spending. This is everything from building a highway to paying a public school teacher's salary. And where does the money for G come from? It comes from T for taxes. Think of taxes as a leakage, money seeping out of that main circular flow before the government injects it back in as spending.
All right, our economic machine is really starting to take shape now. We've got people, businesses, and the government. But we're still missing one final, absolutely crucial piece. Because let's be real, in today's world, no economy is an island.
So, for our final step, we have to plug our entire national economy into the rest of the world. In what we call an open economy, we buy stuff from other countries and we sell our stuff to them too. And this introduces two brand new flows of money to keep track of.
Now, the key thing to get here is the direction the money is flowing. When we sell something to another country, that's an export, our X. Their money flows into our economy. That's an injection of cash. And when we buy something from them, an import, our M, our money leaks out of our economy to pay for it.
And there we have it. We've built the whole thing. We've got all the players on the board and all the different ways money gets spent in an economy. Now it's time for the big reveal. Let's put these pieces together and finally define what GDP actually is. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. Gross domestic product. Let's break that down real quick. Market value just means we use prices to count everything. Final goods is important. So we're talking about the final cup of coffee you buy, not the beans the coffee shop bought to make it. And this is key. It has to be produced within a country's borders, usually over a quarter or a full year. And boom, here it is, the grand equation for GDP. It's just adding up everything we just built. GDP is C for all the consumer spending, plus I for all the business investment, plus G for government spending, plus, and here's the fun part, our exports X minus our imports M. That simple formula, that's a snapshot of the entire economy's spending. So why do we care so much about this one number? Why is it on the news every night? Well, because it's our best single indicator for the big picture. When GDP is growing, it generally means the whole economic pie is getting bigger, more jobs are being created, and it gives the people in charge a vital sign to help them keep prices stable. You can really think of it as the nation's economic report card.
But, and this is a really big but, it's not a perfect measure of how well we're all doing. GDP is great at measuring the size of the economy, but it doesn't capture everything that makes life good. It can't count things like clean air, or the value of volunteer work, or the time you spend with your family. All it does is count the money changing hands. That's it.
Which really leaves us with a big final question to think about. We figured out how we measure the size of the economic pie. But does that number tell us anything about how that pie is sliced up? Or if eating more of that pie is even making us any happier? That's something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.